a race.
Oh god!
No, he moved.
No one's looking at you. They're all looking towards the wall. One guy's looking. One guy's looking through the cells. He's fixed.
Oh no!
You guys. Oh,
okay.
He's looking away. He's looking away.
Actually, you guys want to play a race or odd man out?
Shit.
Go out of the cell
Sure
right
you guys
now.
want.
Oh
Letting you
shit.
pick.
They're not gonna see you.
Really?
Can't hear a word you're saying.
Just look out the cell.
I don't believe you, Tio.
How do they not know we're up
Odd man
here?
out it is.
No
Okay.
one's looking towards you.
Okay,
Take
I'm
a
gonna
peek.
go. I'm gonna go. Oh no!
Alright.
Go.
Everyone,
I don't
you
trust
guys
this
make a
idea.
triangle.
I'm hiding.
Make a triangle.
We're missing 2.
Oh, they don't go back. Go back. Go back.
Actually,
Everyone
missing
look away from
3.
each other.
Oh,
Find them later.
did he just walk by?
Okay, you guys can either.
One's coming up right now. He's going up the ladder.
Oh.
He's checking the rooms.
Shurma, we're gonna have to attack at the same time. Ready? Now. Go, go,
He's
go,
going
go.
in second room now. Go, 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 go.
Oh, I got his gun.
Guys, yes. Good.
Get the gun and shoot everybody.
Okay.
The others aren't noticing.
We had to hunt down the other 2 people.
Spoon, did you have anything on you?
No.
Relar.
They're coming in.
Can you get like a headshot? Like
I have
just
a
pick
shotgun.
somebody up?
Snitches.
Snitch.
I think they're coming.
Come on, you want to
They're
snitch?
looking, but they're not coming up yet.
Let's go look for them. Snitches are bitches, dude.
Alright, Victor, you stay here and look
Don't look
after
for
him.
him, dude.
Face the wall. Don't look anywhere else but the wall.
What about now? They coming?
No, you're
Whoever
good.
the last people are, you
One's
guys
looking
can come out
across
with
the
no
way
weapon.
from the other balcony with an AWP.
Hey, I'm gonna
He's
have
coming up the
escape.
ladder. No, he's not. Not yet.
Dude, go ahead and uncrouch.
You guys are good.
Stay crouched in the first place. Check the cells, guys.
Check
Oh,
check the cells.
One's coming up now. One's coming up the first ladder now. Oh, he's fell off. Go up the ladder again. He's at the first. Nice.
I want his gun. I want to get his gun.
Go get it.
Don't. No. You'll die.
Oh, I think they saw.
Someone has a gun.
Uh-oh. Yep, they are.
Uh-oh.
Someone has a gun.
Right.
Are they like looking at us?
No, they know we're up here.
Yeah. They're looking down your
no.
hallway. Don't turn out. There's 2 guys looking
Oh
right
no!
down.
Don't look! Don't look! He's
One's
coming.
coming up the ladder right now. One just came up.
Now.
Oh wow, I have 15
One's
health.
coming up the ladder again. One's shooting across the balcony.
This is bad.
They're just don't peek out.
He's
One's on the balcony across the way.
Wow, I have 15 health.
I love how they're not even talking on the chat anymore. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, he's right on the balcony, shooting right now.
All right, ready? Stealth. We're gonna do something here.
I have
I'm
15
gonna
health.
try and bait him. Oh no! All right, then never.
Oh, it's gonna be one of these games, huh? I've had people ask me about Vangers for a while now. I had never heard of it before, but it caught my attention. I was getting messages asking for a video about it, and I started to notice more and more keywords. Racing, Russian, role-playing, Alien World, Star Control 2, Divine Cybermancy. It was sounding less and less like a game, and more like the side effects of a medical prescription. Even after playing it, I'm still not sure which is more accurate. The good news is that it got a GOG re-release in 2014, so I'll be playing that version. It doesn't have the multiplayer, but it's completely hassle-free to set up. At least until you start the game. You likely want to remap about 90% of the controls here, and I'm not exaggerating. To say they're kind of dated is really an understatement. What's really odd is restoring controls from the default, because if you do that, it won't restore all of them to the default. Some will be changed or stay the same from things you changed, or I don't know. For now, let's just start a new game. The game starts out giving you the prehistory of the universe. It's very extensive, so I'm going to sum it up a bit. A long time ago, human beings made dimensional gateways to travel through the universe. Whenever they found a new world, they'd shortly build a new gate there too, and they kept going until they had chains of worlds across the universe. Eventually, they encountered an insect civilization known as the Crispo. Naturally, the humans wanted to wipe them out, but then it turned out the Crispo were actually dangerous. So the war was waged until the humans released a bioweapon to kill off the Crispo, but it affected them as well. Both factions cut off the gates to their homeworlds and the survivors were stranded. So the weapon began to break down the DNA of the survivors and combine them, or it's not really clear what happened, but now we have this. I know it wants something from me. Well, it looks like I can click these panels here, and these open up more of the bug thing. Do you remember the first time you went to school as a kid or somewhere else filled with strangers where you didn't know anybody? This is that exact same feeling, but arguably worse. There is what looks like an arrow by the dialogue Okay, I figured out how to talk to him, but now I have other questions. For example, why can I paint on the walls? Does this do something? This is the first screen in the game. I'm used to games from this period just throwing you into it, but there's something more alien about this one. It's not clear what these symbols do. I have an assignment to take Nimbos to the Sultry Incubator, and that's it. So how does this all work? To start off with, the button on the right takes you to the store and inventory. It may be under an HR Giger Bugs Life skin, but it's still a racing game. So essentially this is the garage. You have over 20 vehicles to choose from, which is excellent for this kind of game. The features of the vehicle, like handling, speed, acceleration, armor, and shields, are locked to the chassis itself. In other words, you can't buy a new engine or armor plating. There is customization, with the most important being your weapon layout. It uses a honeycomb grid system, which is easy to figure out. If the weapon's too big, it can't go in a smaller weapon slot. You're gonna need a bigger ride to do that. Players can also equip utility items, like a copter rig for flying, or a tunneler. The system is interesting. It feels more like trade-offs than upgrades. For example, a weapon can use ammo, but that takes up cargo space. So instead you can opt for a weaker weapon, but it reloads whenever you go into water. It's not an ideal weapon if you want to be focused on fighting other vehicles, but if you're running something like cargo, then it can be a very viable option. Before I go further, let me talk about the other buttons. The two on the bottom let you ask questions to the aliens, but you might not get answers. The disc on the left lets you save, and you're going to want a lot of save files. Finally, there's a flashing green bug in the top left. Green means go. The garage then, literally, throws me into the game world. It's, I don't know what I expected. I'm gonna start with the graphics. The most striking technology in Vangers is voxels. I've seen some people confused about voxels. A few years ago when Minecraft clones are coming out all the time using voxel-based technology, people seem to confuse that with meaning that the game has Minecraft-like building. That's not really the case. To sum it up, a voxel is a 3D pixel. Pixels are flat squares of color, while a voxel is a cube. In the case of Minecraft, voxels are used to store terrain data. Visually though, Minecraft renders these items in polygons, so Minecraft doesn't have voxel graphics. Vangers does use voxel graphics. It uses a leveled terrain system, so all the vehicles in it can actually alter the map. Something as simple as seeing a vehicle leaving tire tracks behind it is really impressive. There were off-road driving games that came out after this for years that didn't have that. The terrain is completely destructible. Weapons and crashing cars will leave impacts. Jumping through the terrain will leave outlines. If the ground is weak in some areas, it might completely collapse under you. The keep all changes option was off by default, so I decided to turn it on, and that was a mistake. A big one. A bridge went from being something you could see to more of a theoretical concept. Keeping that on is basically New Game Plus, so I set it back to the default setting. How do I describe the art style? Most everything is covered in bugs. Most of the UI is bugs, all the people are bugs, you're carrying bugs, but not the vehicles. They're like G.I. Joe cars if the designer had voices in his head. Mashing these up with bugs is bizarre, but it works somehow. It's familiar, but outlandish enough to fit inside this alien world. And wow, does this world want you dead. The designs of the aliens are fantastic. They look just as bizarre and strange as the errands they give you. Yet they're not completely alien. Like the prologue said, they're part human. Some of them are doing very human activities when you meet them. But even looking at this one, I have no idea how I would describe it to somebody. They're truly unique, and their wishes are what make for the driving force of the plot. The game starts with a simple delivery task, but you're gonna learn more along the way. Your starting vehicle is nimble, but incredibly weak. When you go to make your delivery, other drivers will try and prey on you for your stuff. It's not just you trying to make deliveries, accomplish quests, and find stuff. The NPC drivers are at it too, and they have the same pool of abilities and equipment that you can get. The AI has no special advantages or disadvantages that I know of. Their big initial strength is that they know how to drive and you don't yet. Your starting weapons likely won't do much to the NPCs who have better cars. Even in a somewhat even match, it's hard to kill anybody early on. If an NPC thinks he's losing, he'll just book it. So unfortunately, you can't own Zone Roly-Poly in his Honda Accord right from the get-go. For now, you have to learn to drive, and it really is a skill. When you're new, it's very easy to become trapped in a ditch and have to wriggle out. Moving on inclines looks more like a cockroach than a car. Between that and the way vehicles can jump around, they really do seem more like bugs than cars. Even after getting more stable vehicles and beating the game, I never felt 100% comfortable with the turning. If this game has a final boss, it's going up a hill and making a right turn on this map. You need to be very precise, and that is not ideal for Vangers. A lot of the off-road terrain can be difficult to read. At several points I didn't know which part of the terrain I was stuck on. Moments like this make getting a copter rig a godsend. It runs out of juice quickly, but it gets you unstuck without a hassle. Getting a car with good handling will save